This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience. Episode 7, A Tibetan Point of View.
Hey, you. Are you walking on?
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Rest of Everest video podcast. I'm Jon Miller. Thanks so much for downloading. Today I'm joined by Major King. How you doing, Major?
John, I am fat and happy in Fort Collins, Colorado.
Fat and happy in Fort Collins. That sounds great. Well, we're going to be, we're fairly fat right now. We're going to head into Zhang Mu, Tibet, where everything changes. And we get to cross the border, leave Nepal, and get going towards Everest. It's going to be a pretty good episode. I think you're all going to enjoy it. There's a little bit of difficulty filming once we get into Tibet with the Chinese government. And I'll explain a little bit more about that as we head into the podcast. So let's do it. Let's go into Tibet. Alright, so what we have here are some still photos, because again, we were not able to film as we crossed the border. We were told to put all of our camera gear away, all of our professional gear. It's actually hidden in some expedition barrels with food. And the reason we're not supposed to film is because the Chinese government is very wary of people filming around the border crossings. So we had to put everything away and basically just use our still cameras. So there in the orange hat, that's Major. I think he's carrying a tripod.
Don't want to be arrested for domestic spying.
Yeah, exactly. Even though we were carrying a whole plethora of high-tech satellite gear. But this is the Friendship Bridge. And this is what welcomes you on the Chinese or Tibetan side of the bridge. And everything had to be hand carried across the bridge. So these are the trucks that were waiting for us on the other side. That's Dawa being our cook, being helped into one of the vehicles. And,
interesting name for a bridge, given how friendly the soldiers were that's staffing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that took a long time. There's the bridge. And
that's pretty cool. It's quite a gorge.
Yeah, it is. And then on the other side of the bridge, we just sort of waited around for what seemed like a really long time. It's hard to remember. But it was raining, it was drizzly, it was muddy, and we all loaded up into Toyota Land Cruisers, and it seems like all the vehicles in Tibet, the private vehicles, are Toyota Land Cruisers.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's quite a gorge. Just if you can imagine any river valley in the Rocky Mountains, and then probably at least double the size of the river and the valley itself, but with the same amount of ruggedness. There you go. You've got the entrance into China from Nepal.
Yeah, it's very dramatic.
It's a little unsettling to not be doing the driving too, at least for me. It's you're trusting your life with these folks, and it seems like you're always reading in the paper how some bus or something went over the edge of a road in some foreign country, and that's what you think about when you're on these roads. Yeah,
it really is, and all the drivers are pretty much the same. They all seem to have no concern for all the different passing traffic, and we were fine.
Cigarettes.
Yeah. This was one of, just as an aside, this was one of my favorite shots. This woman was in the back of this truck, and it seemed to be a perfect shot, me zooming in, and there she was waving in red. It was wonderful.
Did we shoot this with the little camera, John?
Yeah, this is with the little tiny consumer camcorder that Nomad Expedition gave to me. And it did a really good job. Very, very pleased with it. And it has, got us some footage that we otherwise wouldn't get. And plus I could hide it by sticking it in my pocket.
It's interesting looking back on this. You can see Zhang Mu ahead of us in that last shot there.
Yep.
And obviously it's a really rough road, but this town just literally hangs on the side of a mountain, very steep, and just the only roads in the town pretty much sort of zigzag back and forth in a Z pattern straight up.
Yeah, it really is. It really is amazing. Just clinging right to the side of that hill. Yeah, and it's halfway up the hill, isn't it?
The sanitary facilities, you don't want to know. I specifically recall seeing what I thought were garbage dumps just coming out of the bottom of some of these buildings, where it just seemed like that's what they do with their trash, I could be...
It's a very different place from Kadari, which is just a very, for lack of a better word, a little shanty town. And this is all concrete, and that's the reason. It's all, it looks like it's all built by the Chinese.
Yeah, not a lot of, I don't know, character or charm, it seemed like, in the architecture. Pretty box-like, almost governmental looking, would you say?
Oh, very communist, I have to say, for a lot of it. And
now this is
very
the view out of
utilitarian.
the bottom floor of my hotel room that you were just seeing, and that was of the actual border crossing itself, where we had to show our identification.
Which we absolutely could not film. And of course we all realized that we don't have all of our warm clothing in our carry-on bags. So we had to go up into the truck and try to grab stuff. It started to cool off.
It's funny, I don't really recall it being as cold, though. Just kind of cool, West Coast like this time. And this is in, what was this, John, late March or early April?
This is about middle of April.
Yeah. Northern Hemisphere, so.
Yeah, but we're about 8,000 feet here.
That's one of
that's what I was just going to say. I was thinking maybe it was around 9, but yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Of course, there was no rhyme or reason as to how things were packed in that truck once it was carried across the border.
Yep, and there's you, Jon Miller. What are you looking for? Do you remember?
I think I was looking for probably for my fleece coat.
I scammed you guys. I got the better hotel room in this place.
Yeah, Ben and I were on the building on the right side of this picture here, and Major was on the left.
There you go. There's the palatial suite.
I guess that's where the bathtub was. Lovely, isn't it?
I think this is about the last day that I felt good.
Yeah. Especially like the Panda Bear floor mat.
Panda Bear welcome mat. You gotta like that.
Yeah, so we hung out in your room because you had the cool kid room.
Yeah.
Major video.
I don't remember. You gotta give me copies of this, John. I don't have a copy of that shot. As I recall, this was our really first view from land of looking into China, and of a
the
high
Himalaya.
summit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had all this grief about having to hide our cameras and whatnot, but we had enough satellite communications to run a whole espionage operation if we wanted to.
It's kind of funny to talk about it like that. The reality is, if you get away with it, then you shrug your shoulders and say, "Hey, that was no big deal." And we did get away with it. But if if anybody ever questioned it, I guess realistically, in a communist country, we could have been detained for quite some time for having all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I think one of the reasons is that La Wang, the expedition the head Sherpa, I think he greased the skids a little bit. I think he had a wad of cash that he kept handing out
Misinformed.
whenever we had some difficulties.
But it's still
He knew just how to work it.
10 kb a second.
Yeah. You guys are actually transmitting here, right, John?
Yeah. We're sending back the first dispatches.
It has been even more exciting
Yeah, we were editing video and sending it back whenever we had the opportunity and a clear view of the southern sky.
Yeah.
Updated bi-weekly that will be included in the documentary Everest Mountain.
And just as an aside, anyone who donates any dollar amount to the rest of Everest can get those video and audio dispatches for free.
All right.
Wow, look how young Ben looks. Ben was only 23 back here. He's one of the youngest American climbers that Everest has ever encountered.
I think that's a good shot, though.
only I
send a
spoke
bunch of
Chinese, I could
photos
tell you what
back
that
to
said.
Yeah.
And we'll start
Or
sending
could read
tons
Chinese.
back every time.
I always wondered that. It's like that was right at the border, right? That
Yep.
this giant sign.
Yep, that was right across from the customs detaining area. I believe in the previous shot there I was saying something about penis enlargement email that I had gotten. So we still got spam even in Tibet. This is the last of the concrete
Yeah.
tarmac for a
Last
while.
of the smooth roads.
But
Gotta love the narrow streets though, and look up a. Well, I guess that's per flags we're looking at.
Yep.
Let's say that
yeah, that was one thing that was very consistent. There were always prayer flags no matter where you went. That was nice to see. That was really good to see that not everything has been suppressed there. But it was very tenuous dealing with the government officials there. And we had a Chinese liaison with us the entire time.
Yeah, all I remember is those guys don't smile a lot.
No, they really don't.
Even the guide that was specifically assigned to me was he seemed like a great guy, but he just didn't. They don't smile naturally, as I recall.
And here comes the end of the pavement. You can see it right in the middle of the shot there. That's it.
Yeah, heading out of Zhang Mu.
That's something to look at to remind me of him while I was here. I might have some other home videos.
Now, this is one of the
You should go
probably
down
the
to,
scariest pieces of road anyone will ever ride on anywhere in the world.
The canyons down there.
Yeah,
are just beautiful.
I was kind of glad to be on the right side of this travel here.
A place called Canyon de Chelly.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
Every year, pieces of the road collapse, and every year more people die in this stretch of road than die climbing Everest.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah, we were here pre-monsoon, obviously, to climb Everest before the monsoon hits.
Yeah,
How'd they do that?
it was a clean fleece.
How'd they get that magnificent tracking shot
And
from the road?
once the monsoon hits, it's game over for this road for a while. So, Major, what are we doing here?
We are setting up one of Major King's infamous, I guess I'll call it a time lapse. Really, it's a tracking shot where we're fixing the camera on the roof of this Land Rover to record a continuous shot of the drive up this gorge. Later on, you'll see, how the road just goes in and out, following the contour of the vertical, mountainside, and it was just a pretty amazing road, especially once you got up it and then looked back down at, where you'd come from. So we're setting this camera up to document in a faster form the drive that we took to get up to the pass.
Yeah.
I've never used that before. Definitely learning some things here. So. All right, I'm gonna go on up there. So.
That's one of, 4 cameras that we had, John?
Yeah,
You count the little...
It's okay.
but that's your camera, Major.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a slick camera. It's got a wide-angle lens, and, in case you're interested, it's a Sony PD100A. Cost you probably $2,000 on eBay now. I paid $3,000 for it new 5 years ago. Great camera, great climbing camera. Absolutely the best climbing camera.
As level as you can get it. With that wide-angle lens, you'll be able to get the... Because we'd like to get the
We're
road,
just kind of
too.
patting it down here so that the bumpiness from the road doesn't shake the shot too much. These things always make me just a little bit nervous because, it is a personal camera that you have money invested in, and you're never quite totally sure that you have it secured properly. And as you can see, there's not much margin for error if it were to bounce off the, the river side of the truck.
Gone.
I actually did this originally on Trail Ridge Road here in Colorado, up in Rocky Mountain National Park. Strapped that sucker to the top of a microwave truck
With me,
and
you
shot
get a
about
granny
22
knot.
minutes of video, and then sped it up to 22 minutes, shrunken down to like 30 seconds, and it's just like the most amazing drive of Trail Ridge Road that you'll ever see. It's kind of a fun thing to do that most people can do now with, the computer software that's out there.
Should have been a Boy Scout.
What are those bungee cords?
4-H and forgot it.
No, that's just rope.
Yeah,
Well, get your ass out here, Ben.
that's our driver, isn't it?
Yeah, it's our driver.
I just love point of view shots, and I'm gonna have to.
And last but not least, you have to make sure that the camera is in fact recording. Before you take
Recording.
off.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, you look happy.
I like that. Good. Yeah, it's we're getting the hood in the shot, like about about 30%.
This is one of the things about filming.
It's downward a little.
Makes everything take 3-4 times as long.
We might have our guy.
Yeah, and that's what most people just don't understand or get or appreciate. For any shot that you see in a film or a movie or television or whatever, a heck of a lot more time and effort and work went into getting that one shot than most people will ever know.
And everyone around you becomes an instant expert and has an opinion on how to set it up. Yeah.
Yeah, we thought about that. We were going to put it on the hood.
If anybody out there from Toyota's watching, you can send a check to Jon Miller.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great.
You can find the details on the website.
Any loss of beers?
Now for say like, I don't know, $2,000.
You gotta admit, they made me believers. Pretty good vehicles. Well, this is quite the elaborate setup, John.
Yep. And we don't have too many shots of these big trucks, but there are these huge trucks on these roads, and they're only really wide enough for one and a half vehicles.
Okay.
Here we go.
Is that a pipeline to the right there? I wonder if that's
Yeah.
the water supply for Zhang Mu.
Looks like it, or at least it's definitely a pipe.
Yeah.
I'm quite the expert, Major. Yeah, that's a pipe.
There you go.
Hey, look, there's some rock too.
So did you speed this up for
Yeah,
viewers in this
I
podcast?
sped this up
on
for the
this?
viewers. Yeah. Yeah, the rest of Everest is actually a sleep aid. We just want everyone to get a good night's sleep, so trying to bore them to death. But no, it speeds up in a little bit. But you had to watch the camera the whole time. Here's the hero shot of Major King.
Yeah, I look so attractive there, don't I?
I hope my camera doesn't fall.
Yeah.
You can see how narrow that road is, and it just drops.
Yeah, and in some places, I mean, there's like overhang. There's rocks directly above you, not just immediately to the side. That's a pretty cool shot. What you do, shoot in the mirror, I guess, on that.
Yep.
I think it might have shifted downward.
And here we go. We're off.
All right. Faster. I want to go faster. Yeah. Guardrails? Who needs guardrails?
If there were guardrails, they'd fall off and fall down in the canyon. There are pieces of the road that we crossed that were actually temporary. I don't think it's in this video here, but it's literally you cross over this metal temporary bridge because a piece there'd been a landslide and a piece of the road it just slid off into the canyon.
Yeah, did we drive underneath a couple waterfalls or something too?
Yep, and actually the drivers like to stop right underneath them because it washes their cars.
I think that was the only bridge we crossed right here, wasn't it? Seems like.
Yeah.
And I think there's an overhang coming up. There you go. Yep. all coming back to me.
It's all coming back to Major, who hasn't seen this video in 3 years.
Did I really go to China? You know, all things considered, that road actually could be a lot rougher than it is. So I applaud the Chinese government for their maintenance efforts.
And we go up around the bend here. All these switchbacks, we're literally climbing up the side of the Tibetan Plateau. Ooh, let me get past. How embarrassing. The cows everywhere.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I knew we saw some kind of critters up there. You know, the funny thing is I don't remember this road at all coming back because I was in such bad shape. I just couldn't get back to Nepal fast enough.
Yep. And we'll go into more detail about that in some future episodes. Major had quite the adventure. So
look at your road in the lower right side of the screen there. That's where we just came up.
That's where we just came up. So, well, thanks a lot for joining us in this episode, Major.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, and so next episode, we climb up onto the top of the plateau, and it is an entirely different landscape up there. It's classic Tibet, and it looks like a very different world from Nepal, and I think everyone's really going to enjoy that. That's when we really get into it, and it's pretty exciting stuff. So we'll check that out next time.
See you next time.
The Rest of Everest is being downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, well, I've put a donation button on the website, www.therestofeverest.com. You can give any amount you'd like, and in return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent back while we were actually at Everest. It's pretty interesting stuff. If you donate $40 or more, I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywu.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.